Hello everyone. I have changed the week 5 weekly assignment. I looked at what was there and didn't feel like that was going to be terribly useful for where we're at in learning Tableau. So I went ahead and deleted it and I put a new one in. And I'm going to make a quick video here to show you kind of what it is I want you to do. And then I'll let you go ahead and do it yourself and submit it as your worksheet for your week 5 weekly assignment. So go ahead and open up Tableau, and when you do, you'll get to the Connect screen. This is the standard screen that we always get when we open Tableau. And there's on the Connect screen, there's the ability to, of course, connect to file types, connect to server types, or come down here to save data sources. And I'm going to have you connect to Sample Superstore. So go ahead and click on that, and it will open up your worksheet. You'll see the sheet here, and the data source will show you the different fields. But we're going to go back to sheet because I'm going to have you manipulate a couple of the fields in the sheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to start to tell a story. And the story we're going to tell is the profitability of our store, our superstore. But we're not going to just look at it from a single number of profit. We're going to look at it from subcategories. So what I want to be able to tell is I want to be able to show what are our sales levels by subcategory, and what of those sales category are those subcategories, which ones have been profitable and which ones have not been profitable. So there's a couple of different ways I can do this, but the easiest way is to be able to create a two-dimensional bar chart that's going to show me the sales categories that had the highest sales. The first way to do that is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to come to find my sales. There's my sales right there. It's under measures, and it was one of the fields that was in my file that I just opened up. I'm going to drag that up to columns. It's going to give me one bar. It's going to show me all of the sales. And the reason why it's just one solid bar like that is because I've only asked for one dimension. I've only asked for columns. So if I want to see sales by subcategory, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to identify the subcategory field and I'm going to bring it up to rows, and that's going to build me a bar chart that's going to show me my sales by subcategory. Let's go ahead and find subcategory. It is one of my dimensions. I will grab it, bring it to rows, and now I have my bar chart. Okay, that shows me sales by subcategory. But there's one more piece of information I need. Remember, I'm after profitability. So I need to be able to determine if these categories, each of these categories, if the amount of money that we're making in each of these categories is actually covering the cost of acquiring the product and then turning around and selling the product. It may or it may not. If it does, it may only, cover that cost a little bit and the product is not very profitable. If it does not, then we have a serious problem. It's basically costing us more money to sell the product than we're actually making. So how do I find that out? Well, there's a couple different ways we can do that. I'll show you a couple different ways to look at it. One thing we could do is we could actually, this is our first bar chart, we could create a second bar chart that shows profitability by subcategory, and we could put it right next to the sales by subcategory. We can do that by coming down here and grabbing profit. Let's look at the profit. And we're going to be looking at profit by subcategory, and it gives us another sheet. So these categories match, and I can look at each of them and see if they go to the right, they're profitable. If they go to the left, they're probably not very profitable. So I do see that I've got some problems here. This is not probably the most optimal way of displaying this, so I'm going to show you a better way of displaying it, simply because the labels are only on the left-hand side of the first sheet and not on the left-hand side of the second sheet. So let's see if there's a way that we could actually combine these and make it more clean to look at. So what I'm going to have you do is undo the second bar chart, and you can do that by clicking on the back arrow, and that takes away that bar chart. It just kind of undoes that instruction. And instead of pulling profit up next to sales, I'm going to have you lay profit on top of sales. So we're going to grab profit and we're going to pull it over here to the sales axis right there, and you'll see you'll get two double bars, which basically means I'm going to set this up and show you sales and profits for each category, and there it is. Right? So this is a cleaner way of looking at it because we see first profit, then we see sales, and profit and sales for each of the different categories. The challenge is that we're starting to see we're losing money on some areas, right? It looks like we're losing a little bit of money on bookcases, we're losing a little bit of money on supplies, and a lot more money on tables, actually almost $20,000 on tables. So that's one way that we can combine those two things into a single measure. There's another way to do it. We can use size and colors as multiple dimensions to display the data the way that we want to see it. So we can undo what we've done. That takes us back to our single bar chart. And we can now take profit, pull it over to the marks section here, and pull it down to color. And look what happens, right? The bars in size didn't change because the bars are indicating the level of sales. So we know that the sales are fairly consistent, from one display to the next. But the color does change because we're colorizing by profit. So even though we've sold a ton of tables, we're losing money on the tables. We've sold some supplies, but we're losing money on the supplies. Accessories, we've sold quite a few accessories, and we're making gangbusters on the accessories. That's working out really well. Chairs, we've sold a ton of chairs, and we make fairly good money on the chairs. But see, now we are actually able to take advantage of colorizing a field without having to overcrowd the display. This tells us much more information in a much smaller space. There's one more thing we can do, and that is if we rest our mouse pointer on any one of these, we'll see the level of profit and the level of sales. That's fine if we want to rest the mouse pointer, but what if we want to just show the level of profit on each one of these without having to rest the mouse pointer on it? You can use the profits field again. This time, pull it over to the marks section, just like we did before, and drop it down to label. That's going to give you the label that you need, and you'll be able to see the level of profit for each of the subcategories, and you'll be able to see the level of sales, which is indicated by the size of the bar, for each of the categories. And of course, you've also got the scale at the bottom there. So I'm going to have you work through this. These are the 11 instructions I gave you for the week 5 weekly assignment. And the last one I had you do is go ahead and hit File, pull down to Save your file, and then you'll have an opportunity to submit that file as your week 5 weekly assignment. Let me know if you run into any challenges or questions.